All right, I'm starting the December 19th turn. I've already gone ahead and done the cards. I'm not going to go through that because I did that in the previous video. So I think you guys have a sense of how to do that. I did add some cards on the 19th for the Germans. I did add some extra allied action cards, all per the rules, so I did that. So the card decks are set up. Next is the reserve phase, and I took all the units from December 18th and swept them down into here. We've got a nice big stack of the 2nd SS that we can put out. I took this guy here who was from December 17th, so at this point, I think I said the 18th, I meant the 19th. These are units on the 19th. He's delayed by 2 days, which means he can come in 3 away from a buddy. There's nobody in the same division, but there's people in the same corps, and at least 3 away from an allied. So he came in there, big deal. I don't know that I'm going to be doing much with those guys anyway, but he was a free placement in the reserve phase. And I'm doing the supply phase next. I went through this, and from what I can tell, this is the first time we have to worry about German supply. The von der Heit unit up here is not able to trace supply. Remember, you've got a path of 4 hexes that you can use to get to a road hex, which will then get you off the board. So for the Germans, that would be to the east or to the south, but still behind a west wall. And he's got a problem here because he can't get 4 hexes. You're not allowed to use enemy bridges or towns. You can't go through them. So he can't just go like 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. If we controlled this, he could. But he can't go that way. And to go across an unbridged river, you have to be adjacent to it. You can only just go one across. So if he were here, he could possibly go into here or and then possibly off. But he can't, okay? We potentially have a problem over here because this hex is in this guy's zone of control. So these guys can't just zip off this way. However, they can get over to here. So like this guy could go 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these guys can get here, and then they can get off the map that way for supplies. So these guys are okay. They're all okay. So I believe it's just the von der Heit unit that is in trouble for the Germans. For the Allies, I see these areas here. This guy is the guy that decided not to retreat in the battle. I had to redo the battle there. He didn't retreat, he stayed here, but now he's got a problem because he's got zone of control here and here. He's almost surrounded. Now here's that same rule about the unbridged river, so you have to be adjacent to it, which he is. However, you're only allowed to go 1 hex, so he can go boom into here. Now if there were a road here that went up into Trois Ponts, he could go 1 and then whoop, up to here and then off. But there's no road, so he goes 1 into here, and then there's no road to get him supply. So he's unable to draw supply. This guy here is in trouble. He's surrounded. Even though this guy is flipped to his reduced side, he still is projecting zone of control. So this guy's got zone of control all the way around him. Okay, so he's out of supply, and these 2 guys, we've got zone of control. Basically a wall of zone of control going all the way up into here. So these guys are also unsupplied. So all of those units get a low supply marker. And I can try to take advantage of that in this day turn and attack these units because we don't have to worry about them drawing a combat card. So looking at the cards in my hand, I pulled this card, which is a new primary card to activate the 2nd SS Panzer Corps, and the first instruction is to deploy all of them. So I was initially thinking I was going to play that to deploy all of these units. But then I looked at my hand a little bit closer, and I realized I have this card. And this is a typo, right? So this is the 2nd SS Panzer, not the 1st. All right, so this is corresponding to the 1 here. And normally with core cards, I thought you got to activate either or, but I realized this says either deploy all of them or actually, okay, it is activate or, but in the deploy command, it's deploy all 2nd and 9th divisions, okay? Now this guy is neither, he's his own, he's the 519, but So my point is, I'm going to use this card to deploy these 6 units, okay, leaving him behind, and then I can go ahead and use the other card to actually activate them all. If I did it the other way, if I used this, I could deploy them all, but then this card would only let me activate, one of these 2. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be played first. It's only 1 command. Then I can go ahead and play this for another 3 to go ahead and activate them. So let me see where these guys want to go. Okay, the first rule is to put them within 3 of someone in the same division. There's no one on the map until they come on the board. And then I'm placing all of these guys together here. And then 3 within someone in the same corps. And then 3 within someone in the same army. So 1, 2, 3, they're close to someone in the same army. They're within the army boundary, which is here, and they're no more than 1, 2, 3 away from an enemy. Now that these guys are here, the next ones that come in have to be 3 away from someone in the same corps. So I couldn't go putting them up here or something. So I think I might put them here, at least no farther than 3 away from someone in the same corps, and then 1, 2, 3 away from someone in the same from an enemy. So I think I want to do that. Then with the second card, activate them, and with the idea of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, swinging them up into here and doing a big attack on these guys. Okay, and that's 26 odds, attack factors, to 5. 26 to 5, so we've got 5 to 1. Oh, that's not damn bad. Okay, 5 to 1. I'm attacking with combined arms units, and we've got elites. I don't feel like I need to go ahead and play combat tactics for this, especially since these guys are unsupplied. So I think I'm going to run with this like this. So this was to place them. This is the card to actually activate them. I'm at 5 to 1, and I've got 6 units that are unbracketed. Plus I have at least 1 elite. That is 7. And no 3 or 4 steps. So 7 pulls. Yeah, let's go ahead with this. Now they are in a town. They're in woods, not a forest. Forest is the one that seems to offer a lot of protection. So they're not in a forest, but they are in a town, so they'll get 1 hit reduced. All right, minimum pulls are 4, maximum are 7, and these guys are both green enemy units, so maybe that'll help. Probably going to almost guarantee that I'm going to be going to 7. All right, so 4 minimum. 1, 2, 3. I should have played artillery. 4. All right, 5 to 1. That applies. 1.5 to 1 or better applies. Tacker elite. That applies. No artillery. No artillery for the defender. So I'm going to pull. So right now I'm at 3 defender hits, although 1 will be reduced because they're in a town. And again, I didn't have to pull any allied command card because they are unsupplied. So I'm going to go to 7. So let's do 5, 6, and 7. Well, 5 to 1 will apply. Flank attack does not apply. 1 hex attack does not apply. IP does not apply. And dispersed unsupplied. Yes. I think that's the first time I've had that take effect in my favor. So let's look at this here. Because the defender is unsupplied. They're in low supply, which is considered unsupplied. So I'm seeing this A1 cancels this A1. So we've got 1 A1 left. And oh my, no D minus ones. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's 4 of them. 8 would kill them both. But all right, that should be pretty darn good. So let's see what we got up here. And I just occurs to me, just want to point out, I placed these guys here I didn't have to take roadblock checks when we moved up here because these hexes are definitely not in Allied supply, right? We've got this wall of zone of control here. So I didn't have to do any roadblock business up here. All right, so one of these got removed because they're in a town. Yeah. So now I'm down to 5 hits. 5 hits, and there's 4 of them. So the first thing they want to do is retreat. And this is going to cost them because there's nowhere to retreat that's not in enemy zone of control. Okay, he's got some tough choices here. This was really good. Looking at the priorities, can't get into a hex that is not in enemy zone of control, and cannot even get into a hex that is in enemy zone of control but is at least in supply. That's not in supply, that's not in supply. So they're down to these 2, and within that, this is a forest hex, so that's going to be the last option. So they're going to move into here, and I have to remove a step from the units. There's the 15 and the 13, so the 15 is a little bit higher. He'll take that. So that is the first retreat. So over here, that's the that's the first. That's 1. Now there's still 4 hits and now 3 steps. So their inclination is to retreat again. I think the only option they have is to go here, but it's also an enemy zone of control. So we're going to flip the other one because he's a multi-step. You flip them first. So that's now 2 hits applied. And now they've retreated twice. So you would do that. And then you would apply remaining step losses, remaining hits as step losses. We've got 3 left and only 2, so we're actually going to end up eliminating them. Okay, wow, that's great. That was great. Then I've got to take, this cancels this, so I still have to take 1 hit on one of these precious SS units. Not one of the elites, right? So I'll take one of these guys. He'll take the hit. Knocks him down to factory. Still exerts control, so that's pretty good. Oh, actually, sorry. This was the hex we attacked. So I could advance into the hex that we attacked. It was wishful thinking on my part going here. No, we could go into here. Yeah, okay, why not? So these guys will go into here. And that's where things have to stop because now they're in zone of control. Right? Yeah, and they can't move from zone of control into another zone of control unless they're following the path of retreat. The unit was eliminated. There's no path of retreat. Okay, bit of a fiddly rule, but there it is. And that is 4 command value points, so that's going to end the impulse.